Welcome to Star Pulse, episode number 7. Today, Ricky and I, we're actually going to talk about the new moon in Virgo, which is happening on the 23rd of August at 6 a.m. EDT.
Yes.
This is a very special new moon, and we have a lot to say about it because, as usual, there are other players who are trying to get the attention
Yeah.
on this stage. But our main person is the new moon in Virgo. So let's start to talk about Virgo.
Yeah. I think it's important to kind of have a little bit of a base understanding of what Virgo's asking of us. This specific new moon is happening literally as the sun is coming into Virgo. So this is quite interesting, happening at 0 degrees and 23 minutes, I believe. And so I always like to look at Virgo as a transitional archetype. And what I mean by that is it kind of has a unique placement in the zodiacal wheel. It comes after Leo season, or after Leo, and Leo is all about the glory and developing my sense of autonomy in the world, my authenticity in the world. Here I am, I'm showing up in the world. And then what happens is after Virgo is Libra, which is all about sharing and having relationships with others. So when we enter into Virgo, it's a little complicated because what has to happen is this archetype is naturally thinking to itself, well, I'm coming from a space where I could have already been an individual that received all this praise and glory and was this person. And I'm in this in-between stage before I get into relationships. So there's this sort of process within Virgo where the ego structure is going through a little bit of a shift here. It's a transition. And what we find is that Virgo, I always connect with the crises and the challenges that we go through. And the purpose of these are really to help shift and improve upon and purify whatever could have been unhealthy or not conducive for the soul's evolutionary journey. And so we find within Virgos that they go through these experiences in life where they're constantly trying to be better, to do better, trying to improve upon oneself. And the reason why they're doing these things is what I was just saying. Coming out of Leo, there's this knowingness that probably wasn't healthy, because unhealthy Leo energy is almost like narcissism, right? Whereas within Virgo, they almost put themselves in the opposite, where everyone else comes before me. And I should be of service to everyone else. I should be on the streets scrubbing the floors, and I should be doing everything and helping everyone do everything else and putting myself last. That's also not healthy.
No, exactly. But there is a very there is a logic to it. You know, after every sign that comes after the other, there is some sort of balance that is adjusted. And totally. Virgo is this gorgeous earth sign where, you know, enough of the drama, enough of the all attention on me. Here is a more service oriented sign to say, okay, how can I be of help? How can I help, not in a underdog position, but, you know, with how can we all help each other so we lift each other up and we all get some support. And that's the beauty really of Virgo. There is a little bit of selflessness about it, as opposed to the Leo, which can be a lot about me. And not to say negative things about the Leo, we all love Leos as well, but Virgo are a little understated and they don't make a big fuss of themselves. So I love the Virgo, and I love the way that Virgo can, you know, the biggest love language of a Virgo is to do something for somebody else without being asked.
Yeah. Totally.
Because they see what somebody needs and they just, you know, they make it happen without expecting a big bravo, thank you for it.
Yeah.
So I like what you're saying about the lineup of the signs.
Yeah, I think it's important with Virgo because there's something to this, that there's a natural process and order, right? Yeah. Like you're getting into, and Virgo itself has so much to do with process and order.
Yeah.
And the thing with, you know, Virgo is that while being so orderly and process oriented, they struggle with creating space for the unknown, for the space to have faith and trust in something else, where they feel as if I have to be the person to do this. And while that can come off controlling, I share this with you because we want to gain perspective into the Virgo archetype, right?
Yeah.
And I always say this, in my opinion, I think Virgo is arguably, even though it is an earth sign, one of, if not the most sensitive sign of the zodiac. You have to be incredibly cautious and careful with Virgo energy because it is so self-critical, to the point of which it can actually shut down its own energy because it innately does not feel good enough to be here. And what happens here is we want to uplift the Virgo energy and remember that I came here to be better, to do better every day. And I always feel like with Virgo energy, things do get better. And if you are a Virgo listening to this, I will encourage you to remind yourself of this. Things will get better. It is about the process of being better and doing better. It's not a process to perfection. It's a process to just be better every day.
Yeah, and as you said about the Leo, but you know, what is also going to happen here, the ruler of this Virgo new moon is in Leo, and it gives a little boost instead of being understated and, you know, I don't need to take any space. It's like pulling you a little bit in the other direction to say, well, actually, you know,
maybe
I also need to be authentic, and I also need to put my ideas out there, and I have a voice. And, you know, so this is about being a little bit more bold. If you feel that, you know, it doesn't matter about me, I'm fine, you know, this is the time to say, well, I do matter as well, and this is also my time to speak up. So a little bit of drama, a little bit of self-assertion, with Virgo being service-oriented and organizational. It really is a big organizer of the zodiac, you know.
Yeah.
You know, if you need somebody tidy up in your house and to put everything in the right place. And it's because I feel with Virgos, it gives a lot of security to have order. So some people say for Virgos, it feels like chaos in the mind if there is mess around them. And this is why they want everything to be in order. It's a way of feeling secure and safe in their own environment, to keep up with the routines, whatever these are. But as we were going to talk about, there are other players in this field, and one of them is Uranus in Gemini.
Let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get the chart up here.
Of course, great idea.
Can you see it?
I can see it. It's a beautiful image. I love it. I love it. I love the colors. They're very earthy to me with the green and, you know, the sun. It's beautiful. And so we're saying, so Uranus is blowing in some winds of change as well, which we might all need when we get too stuck in our routines in our own way, whether we are a Virgo or not. We all have Virgo somewhere in our chart. And we might all need some routines to make us feel that we have order in our life with the things we can control, because as we know, there's many things in life we cannot control. So, but sometimes we can get stuck in the ways we're doing things. So Uranus making this square, it's in the early degree of the sign, is really like a new start, literally. And what might that mean for us? I had a little story I was thinking about, like if you think about an artisan, you know, or a craftsman, because that's very much Virgo. Let's say they're organizing their pictures for a photo book or something, and they have everything in order, they spread it out, and it needs to be this way. And then suddenly there's a gust of wind, which is Uranus, coming in and messing all these pages up. And the artisan go, oh no, I have to start all over again, and I just got it right, and now I don't know how to put it together again. But as they then put all the pieces back together, they realize there is a new way. And this is a little bit how I see Uranus coming in and showing us a new way, because we also have, of course, Pluto in this mix. And maybe you want to say a little bit about Pluto.
I just want to say I love your story. I think that's such a great example with Uranus squaring the sun and the moon. You know, both of these, you know, Uranus in Gemini and then the new moon in Virgo are both Mercury ruled signs. And so there's something about this that does bring up the conversations that are being had. And the conversations that are being had on this day may not be the most settling conversations that are unfolding here. You know, there can be conversations that are happening that feel unexpected, that feel like I wasn't able to prepare for this. And as Virgo loves to prepare, Uranus could get two hoots about preparation. And so there's something about this, about being willing to walk on the sand and being willing to be okay with things not necessarily being even, stable, secure ground to walk on or to talk about something. It may feel a little uncomfortable. Yeah, there's no predictability here.
Yeah, no predictability.
And so it is interesting because we are dealing with the ruler as Mercury in Leo. So someone wants to be heard. Someone wants to be appreciated. Someone wants to be recognized. And there may be conversations about feeling the lack of reciprocity, the lack of feeling appreciated. And there's something about this that, again, comes back to the new moon in Virgo, wanting to improve and wanting to do and be better, to focus on efficiency. How can we be better? How can we do this? And so that is definitely something I'd pay attention to. The other thing that I think is important during this transit, this new moon, is the new moon is being quincunxed, which is a little bit of a technical aspect, but it is being quincunxed by Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries, and it is being quincunxed by Pluto in Aquarius. And the Saturn and Neptune that I'm talking about and the Pluto and Aquarius that I'm talking about are in a sextile right now. And this is going to be a journey that they're going through for a little bit now, because they're both, all of them are retrograde, but they're all pointing at this new moon in Virgo. And this is actually more famously known, I should say, as the Yod, which is known as a very faded aspect. It is known as it's like the fingertip of God, or the finger point of God.
Yeah, and like God is pointing down to Virgo.
Exactly, to say that this is a point that we need to look at. We have to look at what Virgo is asking of us.
Yeah, we need to pay attention. Literally, like pointing.
Totally.
Stay alert.
And what I would say about this initially is, because Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto are all retrograde within this formation, it speaks to me of something internally that must be reviewed and reflected upon. There's a deep need for contemplation. And it's contemplation before action. Before I do something, I need to think about something, which is supportive of this new moon in Virgo. To think and process before I take action on something, I need to digest maybe all of the unexpected information, news, and conversations that were brought to the table from this Uranus and Gemini. And I need to ask myself, what do I want for my future? And before I could take action, I need to do a self-check-in with my sense of autonomy, my faith, what's going on here. And perhaps I know there's something I want to do. I know that there's something important for me. But there's something I need to sit with more deeply. There's something I need to reflect on more before I can act on something. And this new moon could feel like a crystallization moment is unfolding. There could be a aha moment. There could be a light bulb moment. There could be something that unfolds that allows for the turning point to exist, for something to take off, for something to move forward. Or it might not happen at the new moon for this to take off, but the clarity might start to come together, so that when Saturn and Neptune and Pluto are all direct, the energy could start moving forward for you. Now, the other thing I just want to add to this, and I'd love to hear what you have to say, is that in Virgo season, there will be 2 new moons in Virgo. There will be a new moon in Virgo on the 23rd of August, and then there'll be a second new moon on September 21st, which is an actual eclipse. So we are entering eclipse season, effectively, as we welcome in Virgo season. So everything and anything that is happening during these timelines are incredibly important. Even though this one is not a technical eclipse, we are entering a window of time where events are not random. The things that we're going through have a deeper meaning and purpose to help us evolve. And so if you're in a space where you feel like I need to get something right, I need to make something happen, there's this feeling or something of this nature, I think the Virgo part of this is going to encourage us to sit with it. You know, in the tarot, Virgo is ruled by the hermit. And the hermit is where we need to go into our cave and go meditate. And this could be a great opportunity for us at one point to sit with what we have received, what information I am getting.
I'm also thinking about Virgo is, sorry.
No, good, you're good.
I keep thinking about Virgo is a mutable sign. So even if it needs, you know, the earthy security, it is also quite open to input.
Yeah.
And I think since it's sitting at the bottom of the chart and we have all these planets aspecting it, we also have, if we just need to shake it off a little bit, I think about the Earth trine that is created with this focus point in the Virgo. So if we look to Taurus and to Capricorn, which, you know, it creates this trine of earthy energy, and it's almost like, you know, so people should look at if you have any planets or any angles in those early degree of those earth signs. It's almost like, you know, they help tune in the radio to the same frequency. So if you're confused about what might be the message of this new moon in Virgo, take a look in your chart. You know, what is happening in this trine? You know, this is kind of a flowy energy, a supportive energy, and it might, you know, say something about structure, how you create structure and security in your life that suits, you know, your personality. So when all the other bombardments of impulses come in, you know, you remember who you are, you remember your authentic, earthy self, you know, what it is you're trying to create and where you are going with it.
Totally.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, so definitely looking at the Earth, your Earth houses, what if you have any planets at the very early degrees of your Earth sign, of the Earth signs. And in that, I'd also be very invested if someone has any planets at the very early degrees of Pisces. The opposition to this new moon, I think, is very interesting. Especially seeing that we have a Yod in the mix here. I want to pay close attention to the potentiality of what's going on around the conversation of health. You know, is there conversations that are happening around you? Is it with yourself? What is going on with your day-to-day life as far as how am I, what are the routines that I've been doing? What's working for me? What's not working for me? What do I need to change? This is a mutable sign, so there is some essence of a change that may want to happen. You know, what's going on with work? You know, our Earth houses are being activated by this new moon, and there may be work shifts that are happening here. This could be shifts with your coworkers. This could be your own sense of purpose and meaning, recognizing that this work is no longer giving me purpose and meaning. I'd like to do something different. Would be very interesting as well for me.
It could also be hobbies, you know, like the sixth house or the Virgo is also about hobbies. It's about cultivating, especially things we do with our hands, you know, it's Mercury ruled sign. And so what kind of, sometimes we have our job where we earn, you know, for bread and butter. But sometimes our real passion might be something we do with our hands, or, you know, music, or something a craft that we do. And this might also be a time to think about if there's something missing in my life in terms of, you know, do I want to take up some new hobby, something I want to cultivate, something that will create more of that earthy balance for me, that I'm using my authentic self for something where I build my own talents, you know, that is very Virgo as well.
Yeah, totally. The last thing, go.
No, and I'm still thinking about this, how this new moon in Virgo is speaking to Pluto again. It seems we cannot escape Pluto at the moment. Whatever happening, Pluto is always there somewhere, whether it makes a trine like last time we spoke, or it makes a square. And this is a quincunx, so it's like a little bit of an irritating aspect because it's like 150 degrees away. So it's neither fully supportive and it's not fully in your face challenging. It's like this nagging feeling that there's something you have overlooked. And when I think about Pluto and Aquarius, I'm thinking about some bigger purpose, you know, almost like a bigger humanistic purpose, maybe something we want to do individually or maybe as a species of human beings, you know, what have we kind of missed?
Yeah. It's a great perspective. Great thoughts.
So it's just to say, I'm thinking about when we talked about Virgo, I thought about what I want to ask myself. What kind of small changes in my day-to-day routine, like we're talking about health, you know, work routines. We all do I guess many of us have the same routine when we get up in the morning and get ready for the day. But, you know, what about if you take one of those small routine, and what change could you make that would be small but could ripple effect into a bigger change? Let's say you start running in the morning and you become really fit and you lose that little weight you wouldn't been bugging you or whatever it is, like a small thing we can all do that is manageable, instead of thinking, oh, the big perspective of Pluto up in Aquarius. But what about if we take one thing in our daily life that will have a ripple effect of great improvement in the long run?
Yeah, I love
that's
that.
Something I'm asking myself.
Yeah. The last little thing that I want to bring up that will tie into a question that I have for everyone is, whenever I look at new moons and full moons, I always integrate the gene keys for those that watch me. This specific new moon is sitting in the 59th gene key, and that is the shadow of dishonesty. And it is all about us understanding where we experience fear and distrust, how we potentially lie to ourselves to protect ourselves or hide ourselves, that block us from being able to experience deeper intimacy. And so there's something about this that speaks to the need of vulnerability and honesty in order to experience deeper connection with others. And so it'll be interesting to see that Uranus is squaring the new moon. And maybe these are some of the conversations that are coming to the surface to dissolve or liberate from mental barriers that are blocking us from developing deeper intimacy together, whether this is in a relationship, whether this is in work environments. That, I always like to say intimacy has its own definition for different people, because it doesn't always mean what we think it does. No. So I encourage you to lean in. Actually, might be the first exercise. What does intimacy mean to me?
Yeah.
What does self-intimacy mean? And so within this new moon, and getting into that idea of this being in Virgo and tying into this need of introspection, tying into this need of improvement or efficiency, I want to say the word purification, but I'm very sensitive with the word purification, because that somehow brings up that I'm not enough, I'm not good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
And we want to be super sensitive with the Virgo energy. And so I feel like my goal would be, can I become the internal alchemist, where I can be honest with those parts of myself that I don't want to look at, that may be blocking me from developing a deeper sense of internal authenticity, so that then I could share this with other people. This really feels like an opportunity to come into deeper self-alignment, to step into who you were always meant to be, but maybe you are afraid of allowing yourself to be that. Whether this comes out of abandonment or it comes out of deeper pain points. This specific gene key, 59, is on an axis that ties into trauma signatures and how we could become victims of our own pain, hurts, and traumas. And again, there's something to this about wanting to move us forward, of healing, of being able to experience deeper self-intimacy and intimacy with others. So my question I ask is, what would it look like to be honest with yourself? What would it look like if you were fully transparent with yourself in your inner world? And how could your life change if you were?
I love that you make explanation. I actually think it's beautiful to think about when you were talking, about the honesty. And hiding ourselves. So why are we hiding ourselves?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a part of us that we don't accept or we don't think is good enough. And Virgo is very much about, there's this perfectionism with Virgos, and there is they're critical, but most of all with themselves.
Very.
And if you think about, so Uranus sitting in Gemini, which is also ruled by my Mercury, making this square, people might feel some sort of mental restlessness or like impatience with what is going on. And that might be that wind of change that we're talking about in that example, where it doesn't give you the same satisfaction anymore. The routines that you've been doing, they are sort of, you outgrown them, and you get this, this Uranus blast of energy where it just comes in and shakes you up a little bit, like you're feeling restless, you want to do something else. So I thought it was really beautiful what you said, and the way to start looking at it. What have you, if your mind is to service others, Uranus brings this little bit of selfish aspect into it. Like, what about me? What do I take pleasure in? And then we're coming back to, you can do something constructive with it, like arts and craft or hobbies, or, focus on your pets or other sixth house health, sixth house areas.
I mean, the habit or the hobby could be actually self-care. It could be creating a routine of taking care of myself. Virgo, I always say, is tied to mental, emotional, and physical health. And I'm going to throw in spiritual health. You should always check in on your mental, your physical, and your spiritual and emotional health within Virgo. And you should have a routine that supports those 4 core areas, because Virgo is about taking care of something, including ourselves. So how are you taking care of yourself? How vulnerable and honest are you with yourself?
Yeah, and with everything going on, you were also mentioning Pisces. If we have stuff going on in Pisces, this can also help us lift up from the, like you said, I always think about Virgo is physical health. But it's speaking to the opposite sign, which is Pisces, which I often think about as a mental health, the mental well-being. And that there has to be a balance between the two, of doing things in the physical world, but also attending, your spiritual reality and,
100%.
your emotional reality. So there's a lot of, again, players on the stage for this new moon in Virgo. And, it's quite exciting that it's at the beginning of the sign. It's almost like you get like a fresh reset start to, how do I want to start, this season? And I'm excited.
Me too. Exactly. Me too. And I love what you just said too about this idea of what do you want to get started. I just remind people that the South Node is in Virgo as all of this is happening. So there is something within Virgo over the next year that is actually ending and needs to be released and let go. And ironically, I could see this new moon being an opportunity for us to plant those metaphorical seeds that people talk about with the new moon. But this feels like a new me that needs to be born, like a new you, and really discovering what that means, and what part of myself have I not allowed to blossom yet, what part of myself am I not watering or nourishing. And again, as you were mentioning earlier, look where Virgo is in your chart, because this will give you information as to how this is really being, how this is showing up in your chart. And if you're always interested in learning more about this, you can definitely just check out Charlotte or I's website, and we would be more than happy to dive into your personal chart with how this shows up for you.
Absolutely. You had a great question to finish with, I think. Yeah.
I gotta think about this. I think my question was tied to where in my life do I feel compelled to hide? Where in my life do I feel compelled to hide?
Or hide parts
and hold myself back out of fear.
Yeah. And then maybe I think immediately about Mercury in Leo, and I think this is a time to be a little bit more bold and not hide. And if you are hiding, ask yourself why. Do you not deserve to shine like everybody else? Do you not, deserve to show your authentic self to yourself and to others? And this might be the time to be a little bit bolder and to get the creativity flowing a little bit as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's see what will happen. This is the 23rd of August
Yes.
is when we have the new moon.
Yep,
So
at
this,
2:06 a.m. Eastern time. But
yeah,
I would see this. I don't know. I think the 23rd is a Saturday. Um, so I would honestly, the moon will enter Virgo that week on the 22nd. And I mean, you're gonna feel this energy coming into it. Those that are,
yeah.
emotionally sensitive will definitely be feeling this energy sooner than the 23rd. But
Yeah, Mercury is direct now. It's like, okay, we are going forward.
yeah,
And I think what is great about this is to prepare a little bit, like already now thinking about these topics about the new moon in Virgo. And if there's anything you want to change, anything you want to improve, something you want to let go of, and like prepare. I mean, if you can also think about it, I think about new moon in Virgo as well. You take a new, piece of paper
yeah,
and colored pens, and you can draw whatever you want. You can create something new, which is refreshing.
totally.
And
You know what I just noticed, Charlotte, as we were looking at this chart?
yeah, tell me.
That Venus is also in this equation squaring Chiron.
Oh gosh, I didn't.
And that's a whole other interesting dimension coming to the table.
Oh my God, yes.
And we won't get too much into that today because we just talked a lot about this new moon, but this is a
Mm,
whole other transit coming into the equation. You and I
yeah,
have talked a lot about Aries and Cancer in a
yeah,
few earlier episodes.
yeah.
So I
We
would
did, we
definitely
did.
go look at Venus and Cancer, the video
Yeah,
that you and I did about that.
yeah,
But what I will just say as just a nugget of wisdom is Chiron's energy, especially in Aries, is encouraging us to access our deepest sense of personal autonomy and identity as a physical human being.
yeah.
And
That's the
there's
theme
something,
going here. Yeah,
and that's a theme 100%. And so there's something
fantastic.
about this that we may need to emotionally lean into.
Mhm.
And it may not be um, easy to access. It could feel a little emotional. It could feel like a band-aid needs to come off. But there's something about this that could actually turn up the emotional energy of this new moon. And I'm sorry I didn't bring that up earlier. I was just looking at the ephemeris right now and I was like,
Well,
oh,
no, I didn't pay attention to that either because there was so many players already. So I like,
yeah,
okay, we need to bring them all in. But yeah,
yeah.
that was a nice little finale here. It's happening in real
Yes,
time, realization.
exactly. So definitely go look at
Great.
those other videos of Venus to learn a little
Yeah,
bit about the Cancer archetype. And you and I have already talked about Aries before.
yeah.
But with this Chiron coming in, it could make things a little bit more internally sensitive. Keep in mind, Chiron
Mhm.
is retrograde here, adding to that overall theme of that need of introspection and contemplation in relationship to our personal sense of identity in this world.
But what is beautiful here is like you have the axis again with the Pisces and the Virgo, which is about, sometimes the Pisces concept or 12th house is also about becoming aware of unconscious part of ourselves,
Yeah,
which can hold trauma, and
totally.
bringing that down to earth, looking at it for what it is
Hmm.
and transforming it, with the help of some of the outer planets and that inner wisdom that everybody has when they tap into it.
Totally. I appreciate you, Charlotte.
I appreciate you, Ricky. Thank you so
Thank,
much. Thank you to everybody for watching. And give us your comment, or if you have questions, feel free to reach out.
yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Charlotte. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.